Hey everyone, I'm Tyler, and this is my first YouTube video. I originally made a YouTube video about a week or so ago, but I just came to the conclusion that it would be best to just delete it and start a new one because I didn't edit the last one much and just felt that it was unnecessary. So I'm restarting it. So to anyone that sees this, the goal for my channel is to just share my personal opinions and thoughts and have discussion with other people that are fans and are part of the hockey community, the NHL, and that's what I'll be emphasizing here. And I'll also be talking about the MLB most likely when the baseball season starts in spring. But until then, I will be talking about just hockey and sharing, like I said, everything that I have to say, and it'll be a wide variety of things NHL related. And for today's first video, I'm going to be talking about the Metropolitan Division and where every team stands currently, how I feel about them, what I like, what I dislike, and whether or not I feel that they will be making the playoffs. And for every team, I'm going to be going in depth, but not too deep, so the video isn't too long. And yeah, so that being said, the first team of the Metro on the top of the list is the Washington Capitals. They currently have 43 points. They have 19 wins, 4 losses, and 5 overtime losses. The Capitals have had a stellar start to the season. No surprise there. John Carlson on defense is running away with the Norris Trophy this early in the season with already 37 points. It's mind-blowing. And I've always been a fan of John Carlson and his game. He's great both ways, truly. And I feel that he is in a class of his own right now. And I know that you see guys like Cale Makar, Quinn Hughes, which is crazy because they're rookies, but another defenseman picking up the points lately. But there's no one at John Carlson's level currently points-wise and overall game. And he truly deserves the Norris, and I hope for his sake that he continues the run he's on and that he wins it next summer. So John Carlson has been great. The offense, Alexander Ovechkin, typical Ovi, scoring 20 goals array, and we're only not even 30 games in, for them at least. Nicholas Backstrom is Nicholas Backstrom. He won't get you 30 goals, but he'll make it up in the assists. He's one of the best, in my opinion, two-way centers and overall forwards in the game. And I feel that he is really overlooked because of guys like Ovi, etc. And you have TJ Oshie, who's had another decent start to the season. Jacob Voracek, Jacob Verana, who has had a great start to the season. He already has 17, 18 points. And I feel that most Caps fans didn't expect as much from him as what they're getting now than when he came out of his draft. I could be wrong, but that's just my opinion. I feel that he's not necessarily a late bloomer, but just took his time and he's really progressing. And I feel that there's still a lot left to show with him. Tom Wilson, whether you love him or you hate him, he's had a really good start to the season. He has around 17, 18 points as well. And, it can be kind of a head scratcher for some people who view him as just the agitator and fighter that he is. But he does have offensive upside, and he is proving a lot of people wrong this season especially. And then Evgeny Kuznetsov, same thing. Since he came off his couple game suspension to start the year, he has been lights out for the Caps and will be a huge part of them if they want to have a deep run in the playoffs this year. They have other good forwards in the bottom six. Guys that come to mind for me are Lars Eller, who's quietly having a very good start to the season. Brendan Leipsic, who doesn't put up much points and doesn't get a lot of playing time, but he is crucial to this Caps team, especially on the penalty kill. And defensively, besides John Carlson, Michael Kempney, since coming back from injury, has been putting up a lot of points for them offensively and has been decent defensively too. Nick Jensen, solid third pairing defenseman. And then you also have Radko Gudas, who they got in the Matt Niskanen trade this past offseason. Gudas is, as you would expect, is pretty much stay-at-home defenseman. Don't expect offense, but he will definitely be in plays a lot and get in a lot of people's faces. And the goaltending, that's where I have more of an issue than anything. Ilya Samsonov looks decent. Not sure what we are going to continue to see from him. I hope for his case that things continue to get better. He does look promising for sure. I think that is without question that the Caps are smart, that they should be parting ways with Braden Holtby after this season or trade him at the deadline, because I believe he's a free agent after this year. Could be wrong, but the Caps are smart. They don't want to sign him to another long contract. It's just not going to be worth it. Holtby's been regressing. I don't think he's as consistent as he was a couple of years ago. And in the Cup run for the Caps back in 2018, if it wasn't for Philip Grubauer, they wouldn't have got there. So I think that's just some things for them to consider. But overall, I do believe the Caps are going to make the playoffs. I do think that they are going to have a deep run, and they are going to be forced to be reckoned with. So with that being said, the second team currently in the Metro is the New York Islanders. They had 36 points, 17 wins, 5 losses, 2 overtime losses. They just came off of their franchise point streak of, I think it was 15 or 16 0-1, which is ridiculous. And then they lost a couple games in their away trip in California, but I'm sure they're gonna bounce right back. And they are a very interesting team to me. I can only praise what they've been doing with their systems, and especially their goaltending coach. I feel like he gets really overlooked. Going back to Jaro Halak and Thomas Greiss tandem days, the Islanders have had some of the best goaltending in the league. And whether it be Robin Lehner, who a lot of people, including myself, are like, why did they let him go to Chicago this past offseason, especially after the emotional attachment he had, not just with the team, but with the fans, given everything that he's been through. To let him go and then sign Semyon Varlamov, who seemed like he was regressing and is injury prone, to a multi-year deal. He's been doing very well for them along with Rice, and I can't say enough good things about their goaltending coach, because they've done really well for a long time in that area. And the Islanders were one of the first teams to really pick up on having 2 goalies as number ones, basically. You know, this started probably like 5 or so years ago, where it started really becoming a thing, and the Islanders were one of the first to do it. So I give them a lot of credit with that. I also look at their forward group. They don't really, you can say Matt Barzal. I know he's really young. I'm sure he's going to continue to dominate and get better as a player. But besides him, they don't really have a number one on that team. But I think it's okay, at least for now. They're proving it's okay. They just have a lot of grinders on that team, and the willingness to win and to be excited about going to practice, and everyone being on the same page. And I give all the credit in the world to Barry Trotz when it comes to that. You know, he's completely turned this team around since signing with them after winning the Cup in 2018 with the Caps. And I look at Matt Barzal's had a really good start to the season. Brock Nelson has had an awesome start to the season for them. And Anders Lee and Josh Bailey haven't really done a whole lot, you know, at least up to their standards. So waiting for them to click. The Islanders can get that much better if everyone is on the same page. But in my opinion, Beliveau and Derek Brassard have been the highlights of this Islanders team. The depth that they have brought has been extraordinary for them. Beliveau is off to a career year where he has like 17, 18 points. Same thing with Derek Brassard, who, including myself, thought that his best years were behind him, but he's proving that he can still play at this level and be a very good, effective forward. And I believe he's on the third line, but to see what he's doing this year after regressing a lot since being traded from the Rangers, I can only say good things about him. And defensively, they have a good young core with Pelech, Polak, and Devin Taves, and they're only going to continue to get better. They have a decent farm system too, so the Islanders are a scary team. I don't see them having a deep playoff run unless they have like a magic run like Carolina had last season, but I definitely think that they're going to continue to be a force, and they do need to fill some holes though. I think that they're still a little bit away from reaching their goal. So with that being said, the third team in the Metro currently is the Philadelphia Flyers, and they have 35 points, 15 wins, 7 losses, 5 overtime losses. Now, when it comes to Philly, I am nothing but surprised, truly. From the moves that they made in the offseason, I did not think that this would be happening right now. I thought the Kevin Hayes contract was terrible, even with me being a Rangers fan, and I really loved Kevin Hayes. I knew that he was not worth that kind of money and made perfect sense to part ways with him. The money in the term just does not add up for only being a 50-point scorer once, and that was last season. So I hope for his sake that things get better. But he's on the third line for Philly and really hasn't done a whole lot yet this season. He's had a really good past week. I think he's up to 8 goals. Could be wrong. But he is starting to pick up the pace a bit. And signing Alain Vigneault was a real head scratcher to me. Alain Vigneault has been known for not developing young talent at all. That was ultimately what led to his release from the New York Rangers and Vancouver. And he is very good in bringing your team to the playoffs, but he regresses shortly after. So for Philly's case, I hope that doesn't necessarily happen, but it just seems likely that's going to. So I was quite surprised when they brought in a guy like him. But not all negative. Matt Niskanen has done really solid for them and being on the power play as a offensive defenseman, really doing well, and they're looking like they're winning that one-on-one trade for Gudas. And their offense, I think of Claude Giroux, and I think that he's past his prime, and I've thought this for numerous years. I think they should trade him. I think they should trade Voracek. This is my opinion. I just do not see this current Flyers roster, even with the players developing that are young, including Carter Hart, winning a cup. I just don't see it. I don't even see how they get close to it. Carter Hart is being overused right now, in my opinion. I know he's playing time with Brian Elliott, but they're still relying heavily on Hart. And he's been pulled from numerous games, and I feel like his confidence is already getting lowered at such a young age. Brian Elliott has had a decent run with the Flyers so far this season, but how much longer is that going to last? He's almost reaching 40. And then you have, offensively, you have guys like Joel Farabee and Morgan Frost, who are two coveted prospects who have looked pretty darn good to start. But Alain Vigneault has openly said to the media, the Flyers media, that he gives veterans the upper hand. The same thing that he did with the Rangers, Vancouver, or even Montreal. He gives veterans upper hand. And that's not always a good thing, especially when these are grizzled veterans that have already passed their prime. He still believes that there is more reliability and trust in them versus a stud rookie. So for the rookie's case, hopefully they get more ice time, but that is yet to be seen. I think Sean Couturier is the heart of this Flyers team. I think that without him, they would be close to nothing, even with having Travis Konechny, etc. I personally think that Couturier, another one of the best two-way players in the league, so great defensively, and yet he contributes offensively sneakily every single season, putting up really good numbers. Ivan Provorov has been killing it lately offensively. We'll see more from him. Looks like Gostisbehere already seems like he's declining quite a bit, and he's been a healthy scratch. So overall, I think the Flyers have been very impressive to start the season, but I don't think that they're going to keep this pace up. Me personally, and I would not be surprised if they miss out on the playoffs because of it. So coming in fourth in the Metro is the Carolina Hurricanes. They have 33 points. They have 16 wins, 10 losses, and 1 overtime loss. Carolina is such an exciting and fun team to watch. I cannot say enough great things about them. They're so young too, and I feel that the fact that they are this young and doing the things that they're doing, they're going to be dominant. And when I say dominant, I'm talking like Tampa Bay President's Trophy dominant. And I mean that truly. You look at Andrei Svechnikov, who's in his sophomore year, is already a point-per-game player, and he's only going to continue to get better. You have Sebastian Aho, who came out of this slump to start the season, is going to be dominant. Those two are their franchise. And then you have guys like Teuvo Teravainen, who is a perfect side piece for them, who was given up, like many other young players, like Artemi Panarin, from the Chicago Blackhawks. And that's just their top line. And then you see what they have defensively, too, with Dougie Hamilton, who's been killing it offensively and defensively. Power play quarterback has been awesome for them. Jacob Slavin has been fantastic, too. Brett Pesce is there. Then you have Joel Edmondson. You have Drake Gardner. You have Hayden Fleury. You have all these pieces defensively, and they all gel so well together. And offensively, too, you can think of Jordan Stahl is past his prime. We know that. But he's a good veteran leader. And then you have all these little pieces, whether it be Ryan Dzingel, who had a very strong season last year, which led to him getting a decent contract this year by Carolina. Then you also have Martin Necas, who's a rookie from the Finnish rookie, who I've known highly of for numerous years, who really can be a good player for them. He's already had a strong start. I think he has like at least 15 points to start the season for them, so he's been good. And their overall forward group, including Eric Hollow, who when healthy is a scoring machine, which is quite surprising, but he's played very good when healthy. They just have a lot of pieces, including Nino Niederreiter, who hasn't even done anything yet this season. So I think Carolina, they need to get that consistency though, and not having the goaltending is really hurting them, and it shows, because Peter Mrazek is solid. James Reimer, I wouldn't want him personally. He hasn't been bad every game, but I just think that because they're going to split them pretty close to 50-50, or at least like close, you know, I just don't see how they get past the hump of like going farther than what they did last season without having stellar goaltending. So this is only the beginning, Hurricanes fans. Trust me, you guys are going to be dominant for a very long time and so entertaining. Like, take away the bunch of jerks aspect, one of the funnest teams in the league to watch. So Carolina, I think that they will make the playoffs. All right. Now the fifth team, the Pittsburgh Penguins, 32 points, 14 wins, 9 losses, 4 overtime losses. The fact that Pittsburgh is even close to contention right now in regards to a playoff spot is far and away amazing, given the fact that half their roster has been like dead. Literally, they haven't been in the lineup for so long. And every time that they gain a guy, whether it be Malkin back from injury, then Crosby's out long term, then Letang's back down, Brian Dumoulin's out for at least 8 weeks, and they get Patrick Hornquist back finally. But they just have all these pieces, but they can never all be together. But I give them so much credit. If you look at what Brian Rust is doing, he's been killing it for them on special teams and 5-on-5. Evgeny Malkin has been lights out, especially since coming back from his injury. And then you have Jake Gensel, who's single-handedly proving to anyone who thinks that he is just a product of Sidney Crosby, because he is not. He is a really good goal scorer who I expect to get 35 to 40 goals again this season. A lot of good pieces in Pittsburgh. They blow my mind defensively because they don't have a lot of big-name defensemen, and they continue to get the job done. Marino, who they brought in from the minors, who's been playing top defensive playing time for them, has been really solid, and they just have so many fillers. Like, guys that whenever injury happens with them, they have these guys in the AHL that they call up, whether it be Blandisi or Lafferty, etc. They just have all these guys that come out of nowhere and produce and even win them games single-handedly at times. It's really mind-boggling to me, but I give them a lot of credit, and that is all due to Mike Sullivan and his system. One of the best coaches in the league since he came to Pittsburgh a couple seasons ago. He has just been lights out, and as a Rangers fan, I was really upset to see them release him because he was a assistant for the Rangers before he became head coach of the Penguins, but I wish him nothing but the best, and the Penguins will go as far as Sullivan takes them, and even though I'm not a huge fan of their goaltending, I think Matt Murray is overhyped quite a bit. I do expect Pittsburgh to make playoffs, and I think that Philly is going to be the team in the Metro that is currently in a playoff spot that is going to fall out of it by the end of the season. So, in the 6th in the Metro is the New York Rangers with 29 points, 13 wins, 9 losses, 3 overtime losses. I can go hours and hours on end talking about this team. Obviously, as you can see, I'm a Rangers fan, but I'll be talking about every team. But in regards to the Rangers, they are so fun to watch at times, and then they are so frustrating. They're the youngest team in the league, and it really shows. They're one of the most undisciplined teams in the league by far. They take such idiotic penalties. It's not even like they're taking good penalties. They're taking really stupid ones. But overall, their offense has been stellar every single night. I cannot say enough good things about it. And I'm so excited to see what the future holds for them. Same with the defense. The Rangers have the highest scoring defense in the league currently, with their right side being Jacob Trouba, who's been really solid for them since coming over from Winnipeg. Defensively, not great. I've noticed that a lot. He's had his stretches of really not looking great, but he's putting up the points offensively lately, which is making up for it. Tony DeAngelo, 19 points already this season. one of the most underrated defensemen in the league, in my opinion. Love him or hate him, because he is character, that's for sure. I love the guy. Cannot say enough good things about him, and I really hope that the Rangers can reach an agreement with him after this season, because he'll be an RFA again. 7 goals, too. Nuts. And then Adam Fox has been, like, I can't even put into words how good this kid has been since coming from Carolina, because he refused to play for any other team but the Rangers. And coming out of Harvard for 4 years, he has just been, he looks so poised, he's so quick with the puck, he's putting up the points, he has like 14 points a ray. If Cale Makar wasn't a rookie, I think there would be a lot more talk about Adam Fox. But it's okay. Adam Fox, can't say enough good things too. I'm so excited to see what the future holds for him. And overall, this whole team in general. Capo Caco, we have so much yet to see with him. And I feel that they are utilizing him right now. The team offensively is very deep. And Capo's been bounced around the lineup from like lines 1 through 4, literally. He's played more on the third line than anything else, I believe. But last game, I know that he was on the first or second line. He's been playing well. Artemi Panarin, since signing him, lights out. Already 30 points at least, 31. The Rangers could make the playoffs in the wild card because of the way Artemi Panarin and Mika Zibanejad, who should be their next captain, is playing. Pavel Buchnevich has been playing really well. He has 19 points this season, I believe. And he hasn't been playing up the goals like a lot of Rangers fans would expect him to, but he's assisting with a lot of primary assists, and he's really looking good out there as a good add-on to whether it be Zibanejad or Ryan Strome in the dot. And Ryan Strome has been a revelation. I would have never expected the type of tear he's having now. And I know that is in direct connection with him being paired with Panarin, but their chemistry is working flawlessly right now. And I know that Strome already has like 23 points. He's almost a point per game player at this rate right now, which could be huge come the trade deadline if they decide not to sign a long-term deal with him. And for the Rangers' rebuilding sake, I wouldn't mind that. Same with Chris Kreider. I love Chris Kreider as a Rangers fan. I know a lot don't like him, thinking all he does is run over goalies, and that's an argument for another day. But Kreider, I unfortunately think will be traded by the deadline, if not the draft. So, overall, I love the way the Rangers are going now. They're starting to find that consistency because they've been very inconsistent up to this point with just getting too emotional, truly showing their colors as a young, vulnerable team. But I think that they will either make the playoffs just barely in the wild card, or they will not make it. So they're the team I'm the most up in the air about, besides the fact of me being a fan.